Hey everyone, I'm Nicole Briscoe. Welcome to Unlapped. The F1 season is upon us. So every week, you know that we have everything you need to know. So here are a few, it's like traffic and weather together on the 8s. If you like us, obviously watch us, leave us a comment, leave us a 5-star review, join us on YouTube, and always remember that ESPN F1 is where you need to go for all of your F1 content throughout the season and obviously before, which is where we are now. And I get to welcome in our first guest of this season. He's one of my favorite people in all of F1. You know him, you love him, Mr. Guenther Steiner. Welcome. Hello, hello. It's so good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Nicole, and thanks for the mister. You make me actually feel older than I am, for the mister.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
when people, I hate it when people ma'am me. So I apologize because I'm like, oh man, I became old when people like ma'am me. It's like, who am I? My mother-in-law, my mom? So okay, fine. It's just Guenther. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I've been doing well. How are you staying busy like in this post F1 world that you're living in right now?
I'm very busy for an unemployed guy, to be honest, Nicole. So no, I'm keeping very busy. I mean, I was very busy last year, and I never expected it to be this busy, and it just continues to go. I mean, but it's good. It's good busy. It's not. It's I enjoy to do it. I can pick what I want to do and pick what I don't want to do as well, which is the most important thing. So. But no, it's I'm doing TV. I'm off to Australia on Friday. I'm a little bit longer there than normally. Take my
Hmm.
family with me to Australia, so that's nice as well. So doing some shows on the book tour in Australia, and then doing the Australian Grand Prix for Network 10, and then off to China from there to work for the German TV. So
Like
just so
in some ways, do you find yourself almost busier now than when you were the team principal at Haas?
different busy. It is not less or more. It's just different. It's so many different things. When you're team principal, there is one thing. You have got one thing in your mind. You need to run the team. You know your schedule. In the moment, I'm doing a lot of stuff which a few years ago I never thought I will ever do in my life. So and they're coming just along and says like, "Do you want to do this?" And a lot of things in my life just happened. It's like I need to think about this if I actually want to do it. Then I think about it and say yes or no. But I'm busy. The thing is, it is just every day is a new day. When you're running a team, it is pretty regimental. You need to be at your position in the morning, and leave late. You know exactly when you're flying where, because the only thing you cannot change is the day when a race starts, or when the race weekend starts. So, but now that's all a lot more flexible.
What's one thing that you've done in the last year that you thought, man, I never thought I wanted to do this, but this was really fun?
What was that? I need to think about that. I did a lot of things which were fun. I mean, I'm doing the TV expert for RTL, the German TV, and that was Nicky Lauda's old job basically. And
Oh,
this like one of the things I never thought I will get ever in my life to follow in this big shoes. It's pretty cool. It's like I say, I remember watching him when he did it for years and years. I just doing it the second year, so maybe they get rid of me end of this year, but you never know. But in the moment, I enjoy what I'm doing there.
do you feel like you get to see your family more?
Yeah, I see them more, and what I do, I take them a little bit more with me. Like I take them to Australia, and we are there for 2 weeks. So I try to use that one because my daughter is 16 in the next month. So I think in 2 years she doesn't want to come with the father anymore. So it's good to have this opportunity. But also I'm a little bit more at home. But it is. It is a little bit more, and when I'm at home longer, because I'm not going to every race. I went about half the races last year.
If she's 16, that means she's getting her license soon.
Yeah, she has got her exam on the 8th of April. You see how informed I am? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
Your world is going to change so much with that.
in a good way or in a bad way, because
I
I'm
don't know.
pretty
Maybe
happy.
both.
Yeah, exactly. Somehow I'm happy. I don't have to. I'm not the Uber driver anymore for her.
Right.
that is since last year. I took over that from my wife. Before she was always the Uber driver.
Huh?
Now I pulled in quite a bit to be the Uber driver when I'm at home.
It's funny because my girlfriend asked me yesterday, like speaking of being like the Uber driver for your kids, my kids are only 11 and 8. And my girlfriend asked me yesterday, she was like, hey, I need to catch up with you. Where will you be between like 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock? And I was like, somewhere in my car. That is the answer. Like, where will you find me? Somewhere in my car between X and Y and Z and just somewhere in between. So, like, you have all of these things in your life now that maybe you didn't have before when you were in that regimented role. Like, what would it take to get you to consider going back to like a team or the team principal role? Which would you even want to do that now?
Just to have a job now, Nicole, just to have a job now. I'm pretty happy where I am. If there is a project where you build something up or something like this, I'm open to speak about. Not saying that I really want it, but if it is interesting, I could do it. But just to have a job, I think I'm getting too old for that. I'm busy enough doing stuff what I'm doing. I've got my own company, which my business partner runs on a day-to-day basis. I wouldn't have time to do it, and I wouldn't be as good as him running it, So, but just to go back to have a job, I wouldn't do it because I mean, the good thing is in the position I'm now, I did 12 races, and what I realized is, I was never the person which lived because of my job position. I like the people around. I like to compete and stuff like this. Obviously, I'm not competing anymore, but the people, I'm still around with them. Not as much anymore like before. But now when I'm there, I've got more time to spend with them, and that I think it is what makes you wants you to make come back to Formula One because I know so many people. I'm working motorsport almost 40 years now, so I just know these people. So it's always good to be around with them, and I still can enjoy that, but not having the schedule I had before.
You know what else is nice about the schedule you have? You get a chance to miss people. You're not around them all the time, so they don't get a chance to annoy you. Like your friends genuinely become friends again, and like they don't annoy you all the time because you're not with them all the time. So then you miss them, and then you enjoy seeing them again when you have to go back.
Correct. And then you've got somewhere to go and to have a chat about something. It's not that because you're always with them. It's like what
Right.
are we next about nothing. When you go there, it's like, how did you do? I haven't seen you for a few months. It's exciting again to see them. You're
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so the F1 season is like officially upon us. Obviously, there's activity this week in Bahrain, and all of the teams spent the last week, if not officially launching their liveries with the help of F175. They've been doing their own like little mini launch events. F175 was sort of the big thing. It was new. It's not something Formula One has ever done before. It was the celebration, obviously, of the 75th year of Formula One, but it was a chance too to see all 10 teams, what the cars are going to look like this season, and see the drivers and hear from at least most of them. What did you think of the event?
I think the event was good. It was something new, and we always have to see how the fans react because it's a big change for what it was before, in my opinion. 10 years ago, if you would have tried to pull this off, it wouldn't have been possible. Obviously, Stefano Domenicali did a good job to convince everybody to do it because it isn't easy. Obviously, it was the anticipation was also critiqued because some people said now we miss all the excitement of the single event launch of the car. So it's all in one day. What do we report about the days before? But I think all in all the event was nice. It was very nice event, very 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 nice executed. You could see people were organizing it which know what they are doing. But let's see what the public opinion is and see if that one is for the future something which will be a regular thing to happen or not. But I think it would get more critiqued. Actually, it got praise to be honest after the event. It got praised that it was nice. I think because it was done very well.
It was done very well. And I also think it was nice too that the teams were personally in charge of their 7 minutes of time. And sometimes it was a chance to see like the team personality and how the team wants to present themselves instead of just like the drivers pushing their own sort of like agendas through when they have their own media availability. I do think like in the court of public opinion, I think the event was well received. But I think the most interesting thing that's come out of it is the fact that Red Bull went out there and they were booed. So let's just like start there. One, obviously the event was in London. Um, the fact that Red Bull was received at the event the way they were, what do you think of that?
I think it has become a little bit of a theme, to boo Christian Horner and Red Bull. I think it was, but because I think it was not meant to be nasty. It was just a little bit of I don't know, having a little bit of fun as well. I don't know. It was a bad booing, that people got upset with them. It was just like, you've got the good people and the bad people in everywhere. So in the moment, they are just the people you boo. But it's a little bit of and I cannot get the word. What I'm looking for is a trend. Yeah, it's a thing to boo Red Bull. Everybody jumps on the bandwagon. It seems to
Right.
be,
It's trendy.
it's
So
trendy, but
I
it
think,
is not nasty. It is not nasty.
okay, so I think that's also what I sort of said last week. Like Red Bull, obviously, if you take out some of the drama surrounding the team last year, and there was a lot of it for a variety of reasons, like the drama itself was one reason to boo them. But also, it doesn't matter what sport you're in. The Chiefs in the NFL, like their success makes them hated. The Bulls of the 90s made them hated. Tom Brady hated. The Patriots hated. When you are a successful team in an organization, like we as fans can't sit there and enjoy the greatness. We always have to complain about something. So what Red Bull has done, obviously, the last handful of seasons is become that team. So for me, I'm like looking at it and they're booed, and to me it seems obvious. And the fact that in the aftermath, like Red Bull is like genuinely offended by this. Like this has become a thing. I don't understand how they didn't see it coming. Like, is it a lack of self-awareness? Like, what is it? And do you think they have a right to like be upset about it?
I don't think you can have a right to be upset about anything in general because you always have to look at yourself. But I think they shouldn't take it as serious as everybody's taking this one. I think we are overreacting, and more you do that, more it happens.
It's
That's
adding
my
fuel to
opinion.
the fire.
Exactly, and for me, that is what is happening. Also, the FIA coming out with that statement, the booing is incorrect. But as you say, these are passionate fans, and booing is not anything really bad because, as you say, you can be fun and clapping to somebody.
But
It's bad.
booing isn't swearing.
What is better?
It's I'd say they're the same. Whatever. It's a show of emotion.
Exactly, it's a show of emotion, yeah. And I think if you have no emotions, it's boring. Because what it is, it is like we are still human beings. Not everything is controlled by AI yet.
Right. Like I get that. Like you want your fans to be passionate. And passion comes in two ways. Passion can be like passionate for you or passionate against you. But if they're paying attention, fine. They're still showing that passion for the sport, for the teams, for the drivers. Like I'm a little like I find myself this week a little baffled by the clutching of the pearls because like of all things, a team was booed.
I'm with you. I mean, for
Okay.
me, it's a nothing burger basically. It's like, yeah, it's boot. They are not the favorite of the fans in the moment. Somebody else will be in 2 years. It's emotions and passion in a sport, and that's what it brings. Not everybody can be loved.
As somebody who gets to sit back and be a part of like the broadcast teams for a variety of networks this season, like as we approach race number one and obviously testing in Bahrain, like what is one thing that you look forward to seeing this season?
The competition, I think it will be very close in the front, because we saw it last year, and I think going in this year, it is as close as it was end of last year. And if you start a season like this, the whole season will just be a big battle. Every point counts. And the four good teams or the four best teams, they will be very close together. So I really look forward to that one. And going in there, who is best? I can just guess, but I couldn't say for certain.
When you look though, I understand not being able to say for certain, but if you look at what Ferrari has done, obviously where they were since what Monza at the end of last season and how good they were, and then now to add Lewis Hamilton to the fold, um, like what are you expecting from them?
I'm expecting them and McLaren to be the fastest cars out there this year. The other ones getting close, but as teams, they are strongest. Also driver lineup because they have got both of them experienced people in, and the other two, Red Bull and Mercedes, they've got one rookie in the team. So that is normally, I mean, they are rookies. They need to learn. I mean, they can be very good, but they still need to learn. So I think McLaren and Ferrari to be the leaders this year. And as you said, Ferrari last year, end of the season, they made big steps. They got a lot better. And obviously, let's see what Lewis can bring to the party. But obviously, he's got a lot of experience. And if he adapts well to Ferrari, that could help both of them. Maybe Lewis winning the 8th World Championship. Difficult to do because he has got a very strong teammate as well. But the good thing for us is that it will be interesting. There will be no luck, or there will be nothing boring this year.
From your seat as a former team principal and managing people and managing drivers, like I did find it a little interesting when Fred came out and said, we encourage our drivers to have that inter-team competition. We encourage that this year, but it can also be really dangerous. Like you can see two drivers competing against each other and doing damage and losing points. I mean, Lewis and Nico Rosberg, what I'm trying to remember what year that was now, but like Mercedes got to a point with them and said, stop what you're doing, or we're going to make you pay for the parts. Like, stop doing this malarkey on the track. You're going to pay for the damage you create. So how can you successfully do what Ferrari is saying that they want to do? Have two drivers who could very easily win the championship, but also maintain that competition within the team in a helpful and productive way? Because it seems like a very hard balance to strike.
Very hard, and I think Fred is in a very good position to manage that one. He knows both of them from when they were very young. They both drove for him in the F3, F2, and so they know him very well. They know how far they can push it, and I think it's always, as you say, very difficult to manage. But you want to have the two teammates compete to get the best out of the car. Obviously, you don't have to have them run into each other. That's the last thing you want to happen. But if you tell one guy at the beginning of the season, you are number two driver, what motivation has that guy got? And that again, if one is number two, the other one says, I mean, he's number two, so I don't have to take any risk or nothing. I'm number one anyway. So you cannot do that anymore. You could do that in the old days, maybe when you had one driver, like when you had the Michael Schumacher, because that's what he wanted. He wanted a number two driver. But now these days, because competition is so strong, it's like in the beginning of the year, you are both number one drivers or both number two drivers, whatever you want to call them. You're equal. Go out and fight. Don't run into each other by fighting. And then at some stage, every team will come and say, you need to support this guy to win the championship, because he put himself in the position to be in the better position in the team, and then you have to support him. But from the get-go, yeah, you need both of them being in equal positions. Otherwise, you don't get the best out of them.
But also we saw that last year with Red Bull. Like it became so apparent. You could have Max out in the front winning and doing well. But without that second driver doing similar, it crushes your constructors championship hopes. And what happened with Red Bull last season was exactly that. They had Max doing Max things, and then Checo was at the back of the field for comparison standards. I do want to get your thoughts on Lando Norris. Obviously, like I think we're all expecting McLaren to be right there. But one of the things that Lando kind of came out and said at the end of last season was that he wasn't expecting to be in the championship fight, and it was sort of like suddenly thrust upon them quicker and sooner than he expected, both in the season and I think maybe in his career. So given the fact that he's been there, done that, he's been in the fight, he's been through the ups and downs, like how will that affect what we see from him this season? How will that change him on the track?
I think we need to see how much he learned last year. And I think he made the comment, I need to get my elbows out. That's what I said last year. He needs to get his elbows out. He needs to start to fight, not just giving in to Max, because Max is known to be a hard fighter. And the other thing for Lando, what he will have this year, what we just said before, at the beginning of the season, I think Oscar Piastri and Lando are both number one drivers. And whoever comes out best, that will get the support, this year. Because obviously, McLaren last year didn't expect himself to be in this position to be able to win every race, and they were shocked. They got afraid from themselves, at some stage, So I think they learned that one. The team will be ready, knowing now that they can win every race, so they should try to win every race. And but Lando needs to fight otherwise, because Oscar is a good driver, and Oscar is also a good confidence, very
And
uh,
young.
yeah, and he has got Mark Webber beside him, and Mark has been through the same thing, in his career with Sebastian Vettel. So he lived it all, and he will give Oscar advice how not to end up to be number two, and that for Lando needs to come out not only to fight against the other cars, but also against his teammate, And I think it makes it interesting because at McLaren, I couldn't tell you. It's the same like at Ferrari, who will be the number one driver the second half of the season, because they both have got very good driver pairings.
When you look at the let's say the top four teams, who do you think? And it's a little bit like we were talking about passion before. Passion can be good, passion can be bad. Same thing with the word surprise. It can be a good surprise or it could be a negative surprise. When you look at the top four teams, who do you think has the biggest potential to be a surprise?
Ferrari.
How so?
uh, because they haven't won a long time the championship, and I think last year they got the gist what they're doing, and now obviously the motivation is there from Fred, from Lewis, to get this championship finally. That's where I think they can be a surprise. They put a lot of effort into that one, and I think Ferrari could surprise us this year.
What about Max? I mean, Max has obviously been such a good and dominant driver. And yeah, there was a stretch last season where he wasn't winning, but he was still there. I kind of look at him and I'm like, I want to say, yeah, he's going to pick up right where he left off. He's going to pick off with, his championship form. But then there's part of me that questions it a little bit because I'm not sure that Red Bull as a team is in the right place. Which mindset do you think is what we're going to see with Max this year?
I fully agree with you on the Red Bull. I think they lost quite a bit of ground last year compared to the other, to McLaren and Ferrari. And we need to see how Max reacts, because last year Max he put himself in a position beginning of the season to get a lot of points, and then that win in Brazil gave him that last lift, and then he managed to take the championship home, knowing that he cannot win races under normal circumstances, but he did that one. We need to see how, and he reacted very well to that challenge, because in the middle of the season he fought too hard, in my opinion. He wanted to win and not realizing you cannot win anymore in the moment. You need to take the point to win the championship. And let's see how he reacts if, as you and me anticipate, if the Red Bull is not as a strong car as it was before, how he reacts to that one and how he is with the team. Do we get a constructive Max with the team, or do we get a destructive Max? That he starts to, when they start to complain, because that never takes you up again. When the driver is against the team and saying we are not doing a good job and stuff, that is not motivation. He needs to roll his sleeves up and work with the team to make it good again, or as good as it was maybe 2 years ago. Difficult to do, but I don't know how Max reacts. Maybe he has grown up a little bit and learned last year that that's the only way for him to win the next championship, that he needs to put the work in, that the team has lost Adrian Newey, has lost quite a few people, but they are still a good team. Red Bull is still a good team. It's just like working everybody together. Let's see if he can get into that position to be the leader, to take them there.
In terms of like the middle of the pack, obviously, like we could have one of the most exciting championship battles with teams and drivers involved that we've had in a really long time. But that mid pack situation is always interesting as well. And we saw Haas make great gains last year. Um, and Carlos Sainz obviously moving from Ferrari to Williams. What are you expecting from that group of teams and drivers?
Difficult to say, but with the convergence, because the regulations are so long the same. With the convergence, it's always the teams get closer together, but until they go testing, because it's so close together now, very difficult to anticipate. And Normally the teams which has fallen back a little bit last year, like Alpine, they made a big step in at the end of the season, and I think they kept on going. So let's see how the Aston Martin is, because they did have a bad second half of the season last year. So, but they will have done some work. They've got Adrian there now. So very difficult to anticipate what is happening there. Like it is getting more and more difficult because the teams are just so close together. A tenth of a second makes a difference of 4 positions for a team now. So I think we have to wait. We have to wait a little bit until Australia qualifying, until we get the real performance of who is who and
I
who's
don't
where.
want to wait to Australia. I want answers now. I'm like impatient. Let's
You
go.
don't get them. You don't get them.
Guenther, what is it that with testing underway, what is it that like you are going to be paying attention to the most?
First of all, who comes prepared? Because if you see people not doing a lot of laps, you know that now you need to be, everybody needs to be faultless, basically. Otherwise, you fall back immediately because you've got only 3 days of testing. You need the data to go to Australia. That's what I will be watching. And then obviously, who is fast? It's just always difficult to find out how much fuel the people are running. What is the engine mode? You know, obviously the tires you get to know because they are transparent. Everybody which tires they put on. But that's what I watch out. But the biggest thing is how organized are they? Get all the laps in, do they all the mileage? That is the most important thing when you go testing these days. You know, just that you get your data and you can get prepared for the first race.
It's also an opportunity for those rookies to get time on the track because unlike at the beginning of last season, where it was every driver in the exact same car from the season before, there are a slew of new drivers on the grid this year. Who excites you the most?
Uh, I think Ollie Behrman excites me.
Okay,
Uh,
why? I mean, obviously, you've seen him a lot.
yeah, I've seen him a lot, but I think he's good, and I know him best of all of them.
Okay.
I'm really interested what Kimi Antonelli can do. You know, everybody says and I think he's a talent, but how big of a talent? And I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say disappointed because I cannot be disappointed that Colapinto is not there because he did a good job the first race he came in last year. The last races were not as good anymore, but it would be nice to have him in. But I would say Ollie Behrman, I think he's one of the strongest one in that field.
We were making bets on the Colapinto situation before with like Jack Doohan in the car. We had said previously on a podcast that we basically give them until Miami before Alpine makes the switch and takes Doohan out of the car and puts Colapinto in.
Is
I'm
it
not
that?
asking you to put money on it. I'm just
No,
saying.
no. I'm not going to put money on it. It's just like because that idea was floated because Colapinto was taken as a reserve driver pretty late last year. But I think Jack Doohan will have a fair shot at it. You
Do
know,
you?
yeah. I honestly think, obviously, Formula One, you need to perform. You need to perform.
Yeah, you have to perform yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot say, "Oh, I'm going to do it in 6 months." No, you need to perform, and sometimes putting a little bit of pressure on also helps. Some people overreact and doesn't help. That can happen as well. It's a big risk what they're taking, but I think Jack just needs to perform. I think he needs to keep, a clear mind. I go and race a car as good as I can. The pressure of people, what people are saying. I always say people are talking because they've got a mouth, but a lot of people don't know what they're talking. They come up with these comments. The Colapinto's already there to replace Jack Doohan. Yeah, if Jack Doohan doesn't perform, he maybe replaces him. But why would Jack not perform? I mean, why not? I mean, he did pretty well in F2, F3. He won races. I think mentally, his father. I mean, his father is a champ.
Big to
In
it, yeah.
motorbikes. Yeah, big champ.
MotoGP. But like the DNA is there, but also it's like you mentioned Oscar Piastri having Mark Webber sort of like in his ear. If your dad is Mick Doohan and has had the success that Mick has had, obviously that is somebody who is in your ear supporting you through some of these things because he has firsthand experience with it. Like if you can't learn from that, who can you learn from?
Correct, and therefore I think I mean a champion like this as your father, which keeps you, you've got all the possibilities, chances, everything lined up for you. You have to perform. If you don't perform, somebody else will take over. But that's life, you know.
So from like the team perspective, when you are bringing in a rookie, and it could be anyone from like Ollie Behrman, who has had race experience, Kimi Antonelli, who is being referred to in some circles as a generational talent, Mick Doohan, Doohan, who has the legacy sort of like in terms of his dad, from like a team perspective and a team principal perspective, like how can you best support your rookie who needs to perform now without also pressuring them too much? Like give them the right environment to succeed. Like how do you do that? It's like one of those things where you have to find the right balance. Again,
I think you can support them to give them what they need, to give them the best car you can do, you know, a consistent car, everything. But the rest they have to do themselves. And I think they're all now, when they go through the ranks in F2, F3, they're all trained to do that one, you know. You just need to give them the confidence, you know. Obviously, as I said before with Jack Doohan, if the rumors start before the season that you're replaced already, that normally doesn't help you. How can you help him? You cannot, because it's public opinion. It's nobody's opinion. It's public opinion, you know. So the only thing you can give him what he needs in the car. You need to give him the best engineers possible and try to make it work. The rest they have to do themselves. You cannot do the driving or making them mentally strong. That they have to do themselves. That's what they are there for, because otherwise anybody could do it, you know. That is their talent where they need to come out with. You support them with giving the best machine you can.
I noticed your jacket, by the way. And we both have brought up Miami a few times, but like, sir, you are now the official ambassador to the Miami Grand Prix. What exactly does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I'm a lot in Miami, which is a good place to be at. You know, for example, I was there 2 weeks ago and seeing everything going up again. It's pretty cool to see because I was there in December. There was nothing there. It was a football stadium. And now it's starting to get ready again for beginning of May when the race comes in, you know. So what I am explaining people what Miami is doing to be one of the best races in the calendar. You know, it's because I know these guys from the first race. I was at the first race. You know, I know Tom Garfinkel very well. I know Tyler Rapp very well. And I just see what these guys, the effort they put in, and I explain people what they are doing and comparing it with other races because I've been quite in a few races, you know, and how quick they established themselves to be one of the, I call them almost historic racetracks now in F1. Yeah, because in F1, Miami has established himself as one of the racetracks. We are going to Miami, you know. There's no doubt about it anymore because they've brought so much to Formula One. Uh, of all the new racetracks which came, they raised the level so quick and so much, you know, with all the things which are going on during and around the Grand Prix. It's quite amazing, you know. So I support them and bringing that message to the people, you know, and explaining to people what they can do in Miami. It's not only a car race. You
Oh, it's like
know,
a whole vibe. It's a party. It's a
exactly,
whole
yeah. It's
scene.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
3 days of fun, 3 days of things to do, and in 3 days you
Yes.
cannot do it all, you know.
I have to say, like, I have to give credit to the Las Vegas Grand Prix as well. In terms of like on track, the racing in Miami was great. The racing in Las Vegas has been great. I might argue with the schedule just a little bit in Miami or in Las Vegas, but like Miami has been fun to watch it grow and develop and change a little bit. Like just being there, working the event, like the changes from year one to year two, and sort of like if you're a fan, you can go to various places around the track and take in different vibes and environments. Like, um, there's the marina, there's the mermaid pool, there are all sorts of different things. Like, what's something new that we can expect in 2025?
No, there is new tickets. You know, you can have a one-day ticket. You can go just one day in the grandstands. You know, you have got tickets where you can sit in different days in different corners or different track positions. So you see different corners. You don't sit in the corner. That doesn't work. You know.
No, you can't actually be on the track in the corner. That might be a little.
Exactly. Yeah. And one thing which is special in Miami, you can go very close to the racetrack, and also you can look inside. I mean, you mentioned that from the first year to the second has changed so much. The biggest change was where the hospitality units for the teams are. They are
Oh,
now
no.
inside the stadium, and people can actually go on top of the stadium with a general admission ticket and watch the people in there. It is as close as you can get. You cannot do that anywhere else. So with the campus ticket, you can get very close to the race car, and nowhere else you can do that. These old things no other track has got. So it is pretty cool. And again, it's a sprint race weekend, which is always interesting because I love sprint races.
Yep.
We just got action already on Friday with the qualifying, and then you've got the academy there. Academy races, F1 academy races. So
Yep.
it's plenty of things to do, and all the stuff you mentioned before, because you almost could be a Miami GP ambassador. You know it so
Hey,
well.
if they're looking for new ones, you've got my information. Tell them to hit me up. I have to say, you were mentioning the changes about the hospitalities moving inside, like basically onto the field. And if you're in the paddock, it really opened things up. And selfishly, my favorite part of it being opened up is where our where our set is and where our office is for the weekend is essentially in the middle of the wine bar, the champagne bar area. And it's not any issue or any problem at all. I am a very good employee and I don't ever partake in any of that offering ever.
Absolutely, and you never move out of the office there, huh?
No, I'd stay in the office. People are like,
Exactly, you
"Where
stay in the
are you?"
office.
I'm
You
like,
always
"I'm in
find
my
you in the office.
office. I'm
Yeah.
in the office. Come join me in the in the office." All right. There is something else I want to talk to you about. Because the F1 movie is coming out. Seemed like they've been filming it for about 11 years. But there's a rumor that you, sir, make a cameo appearance in the movie. Is this true? Is this false? What?
I don't know. I don't know. I saw the cameo in the trailer, they send out in
Huh?
the teaser, but I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. Nobody spoke
Okay,
about
so
it.
you don't know if like the cameo hit the cutting room floor.
I have no idea.
Who did you work with in the like? Did you work with Brad Pitt?
I met him. I didn't work with him. I met him before they started the movie. Everybody, all the team principals. I mean, I had a one-to-one meeting with him, with Jerry Bruckheimer, Joe
True.
Kosinski. We all met just to tell a little bit the story, so they get a feel about the characters as well. I think so. Yeah, I mean, they've been around quite a while, and I actually went to see them last year because Jerry Bruckheimer's a very nice guy. I went to see their setup when they were filming in Spa. It's something amazing. How much it takes to make a movie. I never thought.
See.
It's crazy. I mean, it blew my mind.
I like how you're just casually dropping like Brad Pitt, Jerry Bruckheimer, like they're just like your new BFFs. Just like let me pick those names up that you dropped. Um, like, do you think it'll be a good movie? Do you think it'll be like a good, real, honest representation of Formula One? Because that's really hard to do.
It's really hard to do, but I think if that is not good with the effort they put in, they filmed it so good that people were not even aware that they were filming. They did the start with all the cars and things like this. It is like, and I was still there, and we didn't realize it because it was done so well. So I think it will be a very good movie because otherwise I wouldn't know how to make a good F1 movie if this is not a good one, because you cannot put more effort and the better people in place than this one's. It is just like, everything is there, the ingredients is there to be a good movie, so
Right.
believe in it.
I like the idea that like if you guys didn't even know they were filming, that feels like authentic. And if there's an authentic feel to the movie, then I feel like it's gonna win people over. All right, Guenther, thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see you soon. Safe travels, and good luck with that new license in the house.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Nicole. Thank
Thank
you.
you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember, leave us a comment, hit the like button, hit us up with a 5-star review. And remember, ESPN is your place for all your F1 content. We'll catch you on the next Unlapped.